Hey, greetings, everyone. Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, Senior Fellow at the Media Research Center. Well, Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, and now on to South Carolina. Those incredible first primaries and caucuses of this 2020 election season are pressing on, moving on. And of course, the big crescendo will be next week, Tuesday, March the 3rd, Super Tuesday. But there is a theme, there is a sense, there's something that is happening out there that a lot of us are paying attention to. Bernie Sanders, an avowed socialist, is leading the pack for the Democrat presidential nomination. Now, there are some that are openly welcoming this, but interestingly enough, there are some Democrats that are somewhat in an apoplectic, unhinged rage about it. We saw recently James Carville go on MSNBC, CNN, a lot of these other outlets saying that this can't happen. What is going on with the Democrat Party?
This party needs to wake up and make sure that we talk about things that are relevant to people. We need to go back to 2018, where we had good, diverse, strong candidates that had real connections to the community and talked about real things. We don't need to become the British Labour Party. That's a bad thing.
We even have seen Chris Matthews.
That word socialism. Some people like it. Younger people like it. Those of us like me who grew up in the Cold War and saw some aspects of it after visiting places like Vietnam, like I have, and seeing countries like Cuba being there, I've seen what socialism is like. I don't like it. Okay? It's not only not free, it doesn't frickin' work. It just doesn't work. I have my own views of the word socialist, and I'll be glad to share them with you in private. And they go back to the early 1950s. I have an attitude about them. I remember the Cold War. I have an attitude towards Castro. I believe if Castro and the Reds had won the Cold War, there would have been executions in Central Park, and I might have been one of the ones getting executed. And certain other people would be there cheering, okay? So I have a problem with people who took the other side.
And have y'all paid attention to the fact that there are people on the left that are asking for Chris Matthews to be removed from MSNBC or to at least resign? See, Chris Matthews, I have to tell you, it's okay if you compare President Trump or anybody else that's a Republican or whomever to being a Nazi. But if you say something like that in the same sentence with a Democrat, like you did with Bernie Sanders, it's not going to make people on your side very happy. But Chris Matthews continues to show his angst about having a Bernie Sanders at the top of the ticket. Recently, just last week, in a political article, the Texas Democrat Party said that they have concerns for the down ballot races if you have a Bernie Sanders at the top of the ticket. So what is going on here? Why is it that we are hearing so much about the Democrats rejecting the person that is their, front runner right now? It ain't Joe Biden. It's Bernie Sanders. Well, it comes down to this. Anyone that has studied politics and elections understands that today, in this new modern era of politics, elections are really about two phases. It's an image phase and it's a message phase. And when you go back and understand that presidential debate between John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon, that really changed the course of politics in the United States of America, I believe. Because those who watched that debate on the television screen, and I was kind of young, but my parents did watch it. But those that watched it saw John F. Kennedy, this young, vibrant, energetic, very attractive figure. He won it on the television. But for those that were listening to the debate, it was Richard Nixon, because you couldn't see the image. You couldn't understand those aesthetics. You could only listen to the words. But over the course of time, image has seemed to overtake the message. And that is the conundrum in which the Democrats find themselves. They do not want to be in the same position of, George McGovern, Michael Dukakis, Walter Mondale, even Al Gore Jr. They don't want to have these images that aren't strong, that aren't powerful. They don't want to have these images that are not attractive. And I would have to kind of throw John Kerry in there as well. And even going back to 2016, look at what happened with Hillary Clinton. They thought that, okay, we're running that first female president, the first woman ever to have the nomination for a major political party in the United States of America, except for one thing, Hillary Clinton's image and personality. Well, they weren't that embracing. And so they ended up losing to Donald J. Trump. See, what the Democrats want to have is someone like think about Jimmy Carter, the simple little peanut farmer from Georgia. Bill Clinton, that saxophone playing man from hope. Or Barack Obama, Mr. Cool, no drama Obama, the flashing brilliant smile. But the thing was, if you pay attention, Barack Obama said to Joe the plumber back when he was running for election in 2008, well, I think it's a good thing when we spread the wealth around. What difference is that from what Bernie Sanders is talking about with wealth redistribution? It was all about the image. The Democrats are concerned about the image of Bernie Sanders. He's not a real happy fellow. He's not the type of fellow that you sit and you look and say, he's got it all together. And I don't think that you will see Bernie Sanders running down the steps of Air Force One like you saw Barack Obama do. That's a big concern for the Democrats. The reason being is because they don't want to, have their message be under scrutiny. Because their message is not what wins for them. What wins for them is the image. Bernie Sanders is an avowed socialist. Bernie Sanders is a man that, he didn't even have a job until he was like 40, 41. And that job, of course, was being in politics. A man that honeymooned in the Soviet Union. A man that embraced the Ayatollah Khomeini when we had our hostages that were taken by Iran for 444 days. A man that has embraced Hugo Chavez. It seems he embraces every socialist dictator around. But when you combine that image of Bernie Sanders with a message that does not talk about American economic empowerment, but rather economic enslavement, a message that does not talk about the equality of opportunity, but rather someone dictating the equality of outcomes, a message that does not see you as the individual sovereign citizen as you should be in this constitutional republic, but instead as part of a collective group. No, they don't want that message to be out there. But understand that every single one of the people running for the nomination for president for the Democrat Party, they all believe in the same things. Wealth redistribution, nationalizing economic production. They believe in expanding a welfare nanny state, a dependency society. They believe in social egalitarianism, and they embrace secular humanism, except for one thing. The Democrats want to have an image that distracts you, deceives you, and, kind of just gets you not to pay attention to what they're really saying. That's not going to happen for Bernie Sanders. And they realize that. They need someone else that can carry that message. What we have to look at going into this election cycle is stop focusing so much on the image. That is what has gotten America into a lot of trouble. Start focusing on the message. Take the time to due diligence, to research, understand your own principles and values, and then vote for the policies that advance you in your growth, your opportunity, your prosperity, your way of life, and the future for your children and grandchildren. Bernie Sanders doesn't have the image. Bernie Sanders is delivering a horrible message. But still, there are some people in the United States of America that don't understand who we are fundamentally and would rather have someone, a 78-year-old, avowed socialist, fundamentally transform the greatest nation that the world has ever known, these United States of America.